Hey, I'm Bella Lexi, and I'm here for the Anthony Rogers Show, and we are about to walk into Chicago Exotica.
Hey guys, what's up? This is Sean from Smile Empty Soul here in beautiful St. Louis, Missouri at Firebrand Recording, which is a wonderful studio here, tracking our new record, Swan Song, which will start to be released one song at a time here in probably about June, and then the whole thing will come out at the end of the year. So keep your ears peeled for it and check it out when it comes out.
So I'm Dennis with the Anthony Rogers Show podcast. My question for you is, what would you do if you became president to help the working class?
Well, I think the principal thing right now is housing. That the price of housing is going up, and it's beyond the reach of most American families.
Along with oil and gas and food.
Well, inflation is hurting everybody. And inflation is more complex. I can't say that I'm going to stop inflation overnight. What I can say is that I'm going to stop the long-term cause of inflation. I'm going to unravel a war machine. I'm going to reduce dramatically healthcare costs by ending the chronic disease.
Hey, it's your favorite comedian, Anthony Rogers, live in his tour bus, yeah. But also, you need to get a beard like this. People have been talking. They said your shit looks whack. It looks weird. They can't tell your pronouns. You need to get a beard like this right now. And the only way to do that is by using luxurious bastard beard oil. Great smell, great function, great everything. Just get this. And there's directions on how to use it if you know how to read. But use the link in the description. Go to the website. Use promo code LEGENDARY. Get a discount. Do it. Thank you. Boom.
Hi, I'm Danny from 710 Glass. Come check my shop out. This is our Capone rig. 10 mil joint. Smoke out of his head.
I'm AJ over at 710. This is our Puffco selection. This is a Peak Pro. It is completely Bluetooth compatible to your phone. You can control it completely from your phone. Lights, how long you want your session duration, what you want it to burn at.
Hi, I'm Jay at 710. Come check out our large selection of American hand pipes and American made glass.
Dude, we have everything.
Welcome back to your favorite podcast in the entire universe. I'm Anthony Rogers.
Hi, I'm Brad.
Like I said on the screen.
Yeah, it does say on there.
Cool. So he's a musician. He's stepping in as co-host. Nikki is doing something. I forgot what she said, but she's doing something. She's traveling.
Yeah, I'm doing something.
No, you have a band, but the normal co-host is out of town. She's from Los Angeles. I think she's traveling right now, but she's out of town right now. So we have Brad here joining us today, and then folks, we're gonna get right into this. We're gonna get Steve, author, and Steve Farrell. How you doing, brother?
Cheers.
Hey, man, good to be here with you guys.
Thanks, man.
Good to be with you as well, man.
So tell us a little about your new book, basically that you. Briefly, the back of the
yeah, a new universal dream, and it's a true story of that kind of follows my life from 12 years old, where I'm living with a single mom, divorced mom who works full time as a legal secretary, 6 brothers and sisters, and a little home about 1,250 square feet, to today, where and we travel through Silicon Valley, where I had that was my first couple of jobs out of college, where I was kind of in the right place at the right time, and started a couple of companies and entered that whole private jet world, and then I left it to start a nonprofit called Humanity's Team. And we're all about conscious living. We're actually the largest global streaming platform in the world right now for consciousness raising master classes and transformational education. So yeah, it tells that 50-year story, and it supports people on this journey to live what we call the delicious life.
Definitely. What is then feel free to pass whatever. What is your net worth? Like, you seem like a rich guy.
Well, I haven't had a salary since 1999, so I earned enough.
Neither.
Yeah, I earned enough back in the 90s, selling my first company to just do this nonprofit work without salary, because this is all about again, creating a compassionate, sustainable, flourishing world so the kids can inherit the kind of planet that we grew up in. My net worth is still substantial from those days. I've invested it pretty well.
What's a ballpark estimate for like a fan of business? I just as a business fan, I what do I look forward to, like, if I keep killing it and doing well, more or less? What about your aspect? What is it?
It's over 10.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. And it's just the 90. That's cool, man. Like, I respect that. I respect that, going after the American dream and stuff. I respect that. That's awesome, man. Congrats on that, by the way. That's amazing. And I like that the new entrepreneurs are not like the ones in like the 1800s. They're just like kind of like guys just like, I want all the coins. You're like doing stuff. You're trying to like educate people, and you're about the soul and stuff like that. And I think that's important. And as a businessman, I think that's very important, to be honest.
Yeah. No, it a lot of people have an issue, kind of come from lack, and so they push abundance or money away. I've never been like that. I think money's a great tool. I don't live my life at all for money. I left so many years ago.
I hate paying my bills so much; it's the worst.
Yeah. I don't really get that. I mean, that's kind of its own conversation of just pushing financial well-being away. But I haven't done that, and I see it as an incredible tool. My wife and I, just have given over $1 million to this nonprofit that I lead with people all over the world today.
That's powerful. Yeah, that's what money can do. Money can, like, people overlook that. Like, money can like change the world and like start charities and like feed people and like like educate them. And it's like I think it's a dirty thing to bring up. That's why I give you permission to pass away. But I feel like it's just so interesting in business, because that's what we're all in business for, at the beginning at least. I mean, like when we first I think it comes to a point, like you said, where like once you're established, you want more. You're not just money's one thing. It's just like there's 4,000 qualities of life. Money's just one aspect of it. And I think it's important to establish that as a base. And then I like that you're thinking outside that. Like you're not just like stunted by it. You know what I mean? That's what. So I think a lot of people that become millionaires would just be stunted by it. They're like, all right, I'm just get fat, eat Chipotle every day, whatever,
Yeah, no, I left Silicon Valley because, as you mentioned, you say be stunted by that. There's an adulation for people. They let you complete their sentences when you hit it big like that. But what life is really about is, I mean, you guys in your program, it's about really living a great life. Where you have just the family, the friendships, the working environment, all these things that are really fantastic, where where it's more in service and open-hearted and helping people and stuff like that. So this is why I left Silicon Valley, is I saw that it was a mirage where, just as you mentioned, you get to a certain level. I grew 2 companies to 75 million. My friends there, what happens is you get to 75 and then you want to go to 150. You get to 150, you want to go to 300. So you're busy just kind of pulling that lever, to prime the pump to keep that top line and bottom line going. And I didn't want to do that. So this is why I left Silicon Valley to do the work I'm doing today.
Yeah, I think it's an important base. Like, we're only in the first 9 minutes. This is the very beginning of your story, but I think it's a great base, like to build off of and do everything off of. I think and it's smart you didn't let it ruin you. And for just context, what were your previous companies that made 75 million a year? That's impressive. Like, to me, like, what were the previous companies?
So I was with we were just chatting a little bit there before we were coming on. I was with IBM in the 80s, when IBM was kind of the thing, mainframes and all of that. And then I left IBM at the end of the 80s. January 1st, 1990, I started a company called ENS, Enterprise Networking Systems. And it was in this area of data communication. So the internet was going big, and companies all over the world, individuals too, we were working with companies, needed an organization to help them design these high performance networks for their global campuses, and they wanted high performance and security and all of this stuff. My partner and I, who started this first company, knew a little more about all of this stuff than anybody, even IBM. IBM actually brought us in as a contractor and dropped us on massive accounts up and down the West Coast. And we even went to the East Coast and created a presence there. So this was the first company, and it was in what we call network integration. Then we sold that to NEC, the Japanese conglomerate. And we started inside of that first company, a second company called Netagy. And in 2 years, we grew that company to 75 million. It was a disaster because we brought in venture capital and was very messy, actually.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know the whole story, but like, congrats on that in 2 years, though, bro. That's very impressive, like bulking up. I think that's very impressive. And I think that adds a lot of context to the book and like you as a person, because like we want the story. Like as an American, I don't want the advice from a loser. And like you're not a loser, and I love that. You know, I'm not trying to be rude, but it's like for lack of better terminology, I don't want to hear advice from a guy that's never done anything in the American game at all. Because this is a game, you still have to play it, but like once you figure out certain things, you could evolve past that, and that's what I think your book's about. You're like evolve, like kind of like about the lifestyle more so than like, you know. I think you need to have a healthy base for sure in business. I think you definitely need a base to be able to live the best life you can. You know.
Yeah, exactly. You know, that was the whole point of my book. Actually, was to just I grew up as the middle kid. You know, again, divorced mom, middle kid. Middle kids kind of listen well. It's usually the oldest and the youngest that are pounding the table, right? So you come from that background, and then you go to Silicon Valley, and then you start two big companies. Man, you're going to go through some massive learning, or you grew up that way. So I went through massive learning, and in this book, I tell the true story of just all of these things that were extremely challenging, what I learned from them, and the whole idea was to support people on what we call the conscious journey, which is, you know, what we call this good life. And because one, you create a delicious life, and two, where enough of us live this way, you get to this whole tipping point thing where we create a world that we can, you know, that our kids can inherit, and it's not going to be the messy thing that it is today.
Yeah, I think being conscious as a successful person is very, very important. I think a lot of people just like they fall for all the decoys and tricks and stuff. They fall for like the shiny things, basically.
Right. That's that's what the wealthy, way of life is. And again, I don't want to sort of paint with a white brush. You've got people like, look at what this guy with Patagonia did. My God. And there are other organizations like that. But in many cases, just like you say, that shiny thing where you're just sort of pulling the lever and it's all about top line. And there was a lot of that. And, I would just say for my values, you don't want to live that life. I mean, I wasn't just in the front row. I was actually living it, again, on private jets and things. And it's not what people think.
Yeah, because you're working all the time. I mean, you have a lot of shiny things around you, but like you're working all the time, you know?
I just wonder how many fighter jet pilots are going to be anymore, like with AI and everything. So I heard about some flight they did recently with AI controlled jets. They were going against like actual like fighter pilots and stuff like that, and they were killing them like 100% of the time. You heard about that?
I was reading that these latest fighter jets now they're putting in there's a massive percentage of them that are going to be AI controlled. But no, I hadn't heard about that.
I mean, it makes sense. I mean, it's like, well, they won't make mistakes. It's all calculated. Like there's no emotional human error there. So I mean,
boy, no kidding. I mean,
not a bad idea. It's like it would save people's lives, but like people that are like, I want to be a pilot, like, no, not so much. Like we have a computer that can do that 100 times better than you, like every single time consistently. Like we don't even need you. Like you can work on it, you can fix it, I guess. Or soon we're gonna have a robot for that too.
Right. Yeah. AI, I mean, it's all about precision. Now there's no heart there. So, man, you don't want to be on the other side of that thing. That's for sure.
Right.
Oh, definitely. So did I read correctly that you taught Gavin Newsom as well? Like you were like a teacher of more or less like through your programs?
What happened?
Well, not.
Yeah, what you taught him in a class, I think. Is that correct? You taught him in a class or something?
I didn't teach him, no, but so where Gavin came in is I started these companies, that first one in 1990, the second one, about 7 years after that, called Netigy. Starting those two companies then gave me entrance into that whole elite Silicon Valley thing. So I was in a business organization with 60 of us that were leaders in this. It's called Young Presidents Organization. And Gavin was in my chapter. So with other guys that were equally impressive, actually.
Yeah, I saw the list. I just stuck out. The governor just stuck out to me as a fanboy of politics. Different team from where I'm at, but I'm a fan of politics. So I think it's interesting that you're able to influence politicians and one of the most influential states in the country. That's a pretty big reach, like on your round on Earth, man. It's a pretty big reach.
He was the mayor of San Francisco at that time. And then, of course, he's gone on. Yeah, he's not only the governor, but he's probably going to be running for president here in 4 years.
You're probably right about that. You're probably right.
Sharp guy. Yeah, but again, man, all of those guys and women too, that were in my chapter, they're bright, inquisitive, on it, driven, and I loved a lot of that. But I just looked at this thing of growing companies just for top line and bottom line, where in many cases it wasn't creating a better community or a better world. And I wanted the conscious lifestyle. I didn't know what to call it back then when I left in the early 2000s and started this nonprofit organization with Neale Donald Walsch called Humanities Team. But as we created this thing, which is now 21 years old, I came to see that, wow, this was what I was looking for when I was out in Silicon Valley. This is the good life.
You had it in its prime too. I think 90s Silicon Valley is where a lot of people made their fortunes, and a lot of people impacted the world on top of fortune, just impacted the world directly. I think Silicon Valley changed the world. We're talking to each other through devices right now because of that revolution, I'd argue. So the only reason we even know each other is for that revolution, So it's like it's interesting seeing where that went and like being a part. You're in that. It's like I don't know, being like in music in Seattle in the 90s or something. It's the same thing with like. Like you being in Silicon Valley during that time.
It's exactly like the grunge scene.
The whole town came together. It's like changed the world. It's like I think that's powerful. And so what's in it for you, man? Like a guy's done all this stuff. Like what's even in it for you? Because like you seem like you could literally play golf the rest of your life and stuff. What's in it? Like
I hope we don't spend the rest of your life playing golf.
But I just mean you could vacation and whatever. If you ration your money off sales of companies, you can ration.
Yes.
Well, a guy's still working and stuff. You just can't shut it off. Like you just always have it on, I guess, like the growth thing.
I just have a thing against golf. I'm not going to play golf ever.
Yeah. So no, it's a good question, and that's really what a lot of people do. You kind of make that happen, and then you're playing golf and vacation and stuff. Even back then, and certainly today, I look out at the world and I look at people. You probably know a lot of people that are fatigued, right? That have anxiety, all of these, sometimes depression and stuff. A lot of people in today's world, it's not working great. And then when you look out into the world itself, with the extreme weather that's getting worse, and I won't go down the long list that we're all aware of. It's not working great. So I wanted to devote myself, even back then, and certainly today, to hey, there's got to be a way that people can live that's pretty, that's cool, that's delicious, that works. So that was the big epiphany for me in the 90s. And when we started this nonprofit here back in June 2003, that was what we wanted to do. And now we have people writing into us all over the world saying, wow, because we create these video trainings called masterclasses in this area called conscious living. You've probably heard of masterclass.com, right? Because they've raised like $400 million. So they create a new video training, one a month, right? We create one a week. And we haven't raised any money. So, that's how we become the largest in our space.
I think that's smart. No, I think it's a smart tactic in the beginning. I think also, I think this is kind of weird line, but like through comedy, I did the same thing. Like I would never charge tickets. So I'd flood everybody in there for free. That way, it's like you could get them on merch or beer sales or something.
You just talk the bar into giving you money and said, like, hey, all these people that are giving you money, yeah, you just have to give me some of that.
Well, that way it keeps it free for the consumer, I think, which is what you're doing with your project. I think that's smart because like the consumer doesn't want to spend money. They're weary of anyone that asks for money. It's like scam oriented mostly because so people are just like, oh yeah, like I think your introduction is great. Is what I'm trying to say. It's like I think that's how to build. That's how to build. You know what I mean? I think people that charge are trying to cash out at the end of the career. Like when you do like a Patreon or you do something like that, you're trying to you have no more to go, and you're like, all right, watch me do what I hate doing or something. But I think like I don't know, it's weird parallel between comedy between what you're doing and stuff like. So it's just interesting parallel. It's all the same thing. That's all a company.
What?
I feel like it's just like no matter what field it is, it's just like we're just like running companies at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's really all about about your meaning and purpose. So, and that's going to be individual for everybody. It's like what is the deeper thing that you're here for? What's the thing that really excites you? What's the thing that opens you up, that makes you feel like you've contributed? So everybody's got to kind of find that.
For sure.
My book, was just about my own journey of kind of how I found it, and because it was a circuitous path. I mean, I was there in Silicon Valley, and most people would say, just with what I achieved, that was that's it. That's what they're aiming at. That was part of the reason I wrote the book, because I got to know a lot of these people that were running these high performance, high growth companies, and I could see the pressure on them, on their marriages, on their friends, on coworkers, and all of this. As we were talking about it here just a moment ago on your show, where you're traveling to this to get growth and stuff, leaving behind family, and where you do that month after month, year after year, money really, there's a certain amount of money is great because you can then kind of relax, and not be concerned about a roof over your head and food and vacation. But beyond a certain amount, which isn't that much, it really doesn't. It can actually cause problems. I think I saw it in most cases it causing more problems than creating opportunity.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's the base. I think it's a healthy base to then be able to do the full transformation into what you're talking about, and what people how people should expand their life and be happy, find happiness. Basically, is what you're saying. You're basically guiding people to find happiness through your confidence in your own journey. And I think that's what what would you suggest to somebody searching that? Like now that I think we got a lot of context in the beginning of to kind of build base and stuff. But what would say somebody comes up to you and I'm sure this happens all the time, but what would your advice be to somebody trying to search their meaning or purpose or whatever it is? What worked for you, and what would you advise somebody coming to you with that?
So what I'd recommend, we're a nonprofit 501c3 nonprofit humanities team. It's spelled with a Y, humanitiesteam.org, and we have a lot of free programs there. So, and I would suggest to people go look at some of the programs based on science. So, I'll bet a good number of your viewers have heard of Gregg Braden, Bruce Lipton, Sim Harriman, Lynne McTaggart, Heart Math leaders, Deborah Rosman, Howard Martin, and others. Many others. So. We've got science-based programs on our site. There are lots of free ones, and I'd go through some of these programs where the scientists are sharing the biology, the quantum physics, the geology that says, hey, all of life is actually deeply connected. So we're connected to the earth, we're connected to each other, the universe around us. That's actually, for me in the 90s and even today, as we're working with people, this is the game-changing thing, because where we think that there's no connection at all, it's just me, my wife, and my kids, you kind of live your life one way, sort of like in a castle with a moat around you, right? You care about what's out there, but not really, because it's not part of you. Where science takes you into this whole everything interrelated, interconnected, and interdependent thing, this connected world, it changes things. It's kind of life-changing, because you, in a sense, it's like taking your fence posts and moving them out. It's not any longer just you and your family. It's now is really the whole of all of the people here on the planet and the earth itself. There's some quotes from Albert Einstein that really go straight at this, and if you want, I could share those quotes.
Yeah, definitely,
for sure.
So, okay, people may have heard unified field theory, because this is Einstein. Even to today, is probably the most renowned scientist on the planet, even though he's been gone for so long. But so in the last 15 years of his life, he was working on what's called a unified field theory that was going to prove that everything in the universe was deeply connected, that unified field, right? He didn't ever bring in all the equations to do that, but he brought in enough of the equations to make the following statements. He said, and you can Google this. So he said in 1921, okay, this is 103 years ago. He said the greatest illusion in the world is the illusion of separation. I mean, isn't that interesting? So because you were looking at each other and say, well, of course we're separate, right? So then he had this other quote that's longer. It's a couple sentences. Let me read it. It says, he says, a human being is a part of a whole called by us universe, a part limited in time and space. He experiences his thoughts and feelings as something separated from the rest of kind of, and he says, optical delusion of his consciousness. And then he says, this delusion is a kind of prison for us, restricting us to our personal desires. For a few persons nearest us, our task must be to free ourselves from this prison by widening our circle of compassion to embrace all living creatures in the whole of nature and its beauty. So that's a longer quote from Einstein. He went on to say that no problem can be solved from the level of consciousness that created it. So again, he's kind of referring to this whole elevated consciousness or expanded consciousness where we're seeing this world that's deeply connected. So that's kind of the game-changing thing is, again, our free programs now, the equations are in from a lot of scientists, especially in quantum physics, that talk about at an atomic proton level, at a quantum level, everything being deeply connected. So because
very interesting take on that. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and if we believe it's true, then you kind of live a life that's a little different, really. So that's why it's kind of the basis for our work.
Yeah, I just recently watched Joe Rogan's podcast. He had somebody on. They were talking about artificial intelligence and how there's alternate realities that are possible and all that stuff. It just came out today. I can't remember the guy's name, Indian guy's name. I feel terrible knowing what it is, but it's a name I can't remember because it's foreign to me. But it was just on today, which is what the 16th.
You're talking about parallel dimensions and stuff. You said?
Yeah, it's talking about like parallel dimensions, like the multiverse, like how an actual physicist would view all this stuff and all the different theories that surround around it, and it's just you can't even fathom what's going on because they're like trying to talk about traveling beyond space time to like go back in time, create time machines and different things like that. Then also talking about artificial realities, like we live in the Matrix or some stuff like that.
Right.
And
yeah.
Who knows? Like their simulation theory is a thing that like a lot of physicists like, well, I mean, there's a possibility we could be living in a simulation right now. And like, oh yeah, there's aliens, but like, is that just us from the future? Like coming back in time to like, hey, you guys should probably not blow each other up because World War III is about to start. So like, that's why all the alien like ships are showing up. Maybe, I don't know. I'm fucking stupid. I'm just thinking,
Einstein was on that parallel dimension thing too, the Einstein-Podolsky bridge. Like he was on the parallel dimension thing too. Like to tie both those together. Like I think he was on that too. The parallel dimensions. What's your take on that, Steve? Do you think the parallel dimensions and stuff you can travel to them and stuff?
Yeah, I think there are other dimensions. I think some of what this new science is sharing is that the speed of light is not fast at all. It's actually slow. So these things that these fictional movies we've seen are true. Hit warp speed, boom, you're actually just skipping through space and stuff. I think all of that's true. Here's one way.
What happened? Like, what's always confusing to me is like once you go faster than the speed of light, like you change the speed of time. I just don't understand how that works. Like that has never made sense to me. I can never been able to fathom like how you change time by going faster than light. No matter how you measure it, like how are you be before something that was there? That's never made sense to me.
You can go back in time for sure. So here's the thing that proves it all is, of course, if we were talking about UFOs 10, 15 years ago, people would roll their eyes, right? But not today, because today it's all out in the open.
It's proven, yeah.
So, I think the closest forward, you'd be traveling past the speed of light. That makes sense, but for some reason, going backwards doesn't make any goddamn sense to me at all.
Yeah. I mean, it's a tough one to get your.
You can go back and change the past. Like you can go towards the future by traveling faster than time, for some reason, my brain, you can't go backwards and change it.
Yeah, here's the thing is UFOs could not exist if they weren't going faster than the speed of light, because the closest star is, I think, 2 or 3 light years away. And then most of stars are much further away than that. So to get here and back, you know, it doesn't work unless you can travel much faster than
I think they travel through dimensions. I think they travel through dimensions.
What if they're just us from the future and that we created the time machine and they just traveled back here? I don't know. I'm just saying shit, but maybe it's somebody that maybe it's just us from the future that traveled back in time, and that's why we have all this innovation of different things. Like we have fiber optics, and all that stuff arrived right after Roswell, right?
Yeah, television did.
All that different.
Well, television was a bit before. But
like there's been multiple.
A huge technological boom since the crashing of the aliens. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it sounds like we're back engineering all the alien projects that we found, because they've said multiple times that there's multiple sources saying that they found alien ships and stuff like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I actually. So let me first say, this is not my specialty area, UFOs.
I make gutters for a living, and I make music on the side. Like, I'm not a professional at anything, believe me.
I did see a UFO. That's the interesting thing. So
I've done mushrooms too, but
what's really awesome is I was with my brother, my older brother. We were standing together, and we saw the UFO in the same place at the same time. So, and when we came back and shared that, I mean, it was, people didn't know what to believe. If it had just been one of us, they would have never believed us. But the two of us together, my brother was president of our high school. I was the treasurer. I mean, it was real. We saw a UFO.
What was your experience? What was the experience?
So we had a paper out, we were out on a Sunday morning delivering papers early, maybe 5:30 in the morning. So sun was just coming up.
You're the last generation to deliver papers, by the way.
Yeah.
Like nobody, like you guys are like right. You're a little bit older than we are, obviously. So you're Gen X, and we're like whatever the fuck millennials, I guess. Ew.
I didn't name it.
I don't. We don't want to be millennials either. But I mean, you're Gen X, so like you're the last person that had the paper route. Like our generation, nobody in our generation had a paper route. Like none of us did that.
Right.
That's hilarious. I'm sorry, I interrupted. A huge good point, I'm sure.
No, back to you.
I had to pay for my braces when I was in the 6th grade. So yeah, that's how I paid for my braces. I had a paper route.
Hey, good for you, man.
But yeah, we saw a UFO. It was right there, just on our paper route, just bam, right, not that far out. And then as you hear this too, and we saw it, is what they're stationary, just no noise at all, just stationary, just whirling right there. There's no propulsion, whirling, and then just like that, it's just gone. I mean, they move so fast that it's almost unbelievable.
That's crazy to think about. Like, what if like a bird's en route or something? Like we've seen what happens over the internet with like roller coasters or something. Like someone hit a bird with a roller. Like if a ship you just tear through all the birds. Like it's just a weird thing to think about. It's probably dimensional though. It's probably dimensional travel though. I mean, I don't know how trustworthy the FBI is, but they were saying the Roswell thing in the papers was basically just like interdimensional travel. Like it was like they were not traveling space and time, but they were traveling through dimensions. Is what the paperwork said originally, I think.
Are you locking me in here now?
No, I just don't want to be loud.
Yeah, you won't be loud when you murder me.
Well, no, I think I don't know. I think it's dimensional travel. I think it's this weird kind of other travel that works. I'm not sure.
Crazy, yeah. Lots of stuff, here. I don't. It's not a huge specialization area for me, UFOs or other dimensions and things.
Funny, that's how I end most conversations. And I was like, oh, that's crazy. I'm gonna go. So
yeah, no, we work with mediums and NDE, near death experience, and so you do hear all this stuff in terms of life on the other side and stuff, which is real. Because I've been doing it for 20 years, and I'll tell you, you get around James Von Prague, Suzanne Giesemann, Karen Dowie. I don't know if you know these people that are some of the top mediums in this country, or near-death experiences. Dr. Eben Alexander, who wrote Proof of Heaven. I mean, it's extraordinary. Wow, you hear their stories and it just blows your mind, especially because they're all saying the same thing, really, in terms of what's going on.
Yeah. You ever read Journey of Souls?
I've heard of it. I haven't. No.
Yeah, it's similar to what near death and like afterlife kind of they say that. So we've been on that this guy, he's a Ph.D. guy that hypnotized people. I forgot his name right off. Doris Cannon talks about it a lot too, but it's like this guy, I forgot his name. He was like he hypnotized people to get their between life stories was a big story for him, and then like after they died, like you can hypnotize people and get to their soul almost, and hear about past lives, dying, all these different things. Like that was the gist of the book, and that's kind of similar to. I mean, it's somewhat similar. They're all, like when you said they're all telling the same story. That's what they're all saying.
I probably would know more knowledge about this book than I did before you explained it. Thank you.
It just talks about what happens to the souls. It's like about the souls, you know, and like where you go after and stuff. Like it dumbs it down, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, there's, again, they're all really saying the same thing. At the end of our life, we go through what they call a panoramic life review, which is interesting,
They all say that, you're right. They all do say
which is not a recording. It's actually like you're right back in time, and what you're doing in this life review, they say, is you're not in your head or what you're thinking or feeling at all. What is happening is you're in these people's heads, what they're thinking, feeling, seeing in you, throughout your life, from the beginning of your life to the end of your life. So what are you emotionally stirring in other people is what you're seeing. And this is, again, in Silicon Valley, where you've got all of the ornaments and all of the toys. You can imagine that there's going to be probably a lot of people looking at you, not thinking, great stuff. Whereas you live a great life and you're in service and you're creating a great home, great communities, a great world.
It turns out if you don't lie and you live an honorable life, you won't really have that many problems.
Have the money problems?
No, he said if you don't lie.
I'm saying if you don't lie and you live like an honorable life, like you won't really have that many problems anyway.
Yeah.
There's nothing anybody can say like, well, they're just really nice to me. And they're like really nice. They like paid all their bills. They weren't in debt. Like they're just like a nice person. Like gave to charity. Like what are they gonna say about you?
Yeah, that's it. Is what are you stirring in other people? Are you stirring anything good? Is there anything of value? Are you stirring good things? Really, is kind of.
You said bad words, but like otherwise, like it was pretty good, I guess.
Hopefully, yeah, that terrifies me. I was a terrible teenager and 20-year-old. What you said kind of the life review kind of terrifies me, to be honest. I don't want to think about how I made people feel when I was just kind of an idiot. It's like I just
it wasn't good.
That's what I mean. Just being a kid, you're just like I don't know.
That's what they do.
Right? No, I just think that's kind of terrifying. They all do talk about that too. They talk like the common link between these stories is like basically they all see themselves over their body after they die. It seems like. Life review, and then a lot of people say they can pick their life when they come back too. Is what a lot of these souls are saying. Like people
like reincarnation.
To a degree, like they can pick their life and when they're and which.
And there's an interesting theory like how you have to keep reliving your life over and over again until you get it right, until you actually follow what you were supposed to do.
Yeah.
I wonder how much merit is involved with that.
That's what a lot of people are saying when they're hypnotized. I mean, there are a lot of these people are and just these books also.
I'm stupid, so I don't remember what that was from, but I remember hearing it. It's like a Chinese proverb or some shit. Who knows?
Yeah. It seems likely though. It seems very likely. And it feels real when I hear it. You know what I mean? Like my soul's like that's probably true. And I don't know. It seems like we're all whitewashed mentally and then sent here to do all these things without knowing what our challenge even is.
Well, it turns out whenever they created fiat currency, that's when all the world problems started.
They're probably
So I was growing up.
I mean, it's always had problems. War is going to be a thing that's eternal, but the money just made people slaves and then not realize it.
If you're bad at it, yeah.
Well, yeah, if you're bad at money. But I mean, even being we're not in poverty completely. We have a decent place to stay, but most people are tied up in money. Either they have money or they have zero money.
Yeah, I mean, I was like you growing up. This is the story I tell in my book. I mean, I had a divorced mom, so I wasn't the most mature guy in the world. I'm sure in my life review, those early years, you have some crunchiness in there.
Crunchiness.
I was not, I just wasn't that mature. So, but you get older and you get a little more mature. After dating around, you kind of figure out who you are and what you like, and hopefully you find a partner that's like you, and you're both giving and stuff. And as you mature, I think you start stirring these other, better things in people than maybe what we were doing in our early, in our teen years. I know that for sure that's true for me.
Yeah, I think that's where. I think like your 30s, you're like, you're apologizing for your 20s. Like, it's like, oh, sorry about all those things I said.
It's how my credit report felt.
Yeah, 20-year-olds having credit.
I was like, hold on, what's credit? And then I had to figure it out when I was like 29.
29.
So I mean, 10 years later, it's good. It's good now. It's been fine for a while, but it was pretty rough. It was definitely about half of what it is now for most of my 20s. I'm like, we have to pay this money back. I think this is the problem.
Yeah, we get older, wiser, a little more mature, and a little more giving, and hopefully, I mean, the whole thing I think that we're all after is just a life that's where we feel good, we're happy, we're stirring in good stuff in other people. We call that conscious living in Humanities team, and conscious of what? Just conscious of really, the world around me, other people, the planet. So that's how you were bringing in golf and stuff. I don't golf at all. I spend my time working with
I'm glad you
incredible partners all over the world, that we're creating all of these master classes in conscious living. We now create our new programs with 75 languages. They're out all over the world. Every week we're bringing a new program out. So yeah, that's what makes me happy. But it comes back, to each of us is like, what's our thing? Like, where are we finding our happiness? That's where we ought to be spending our time for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I worked in sales for 13 years, and then I recently got out of it, just like work on people's roofs and like gutters and stuff like that, just so I had more time to work on music and not be emotionally drained from it. I was like, I just don't care about the money anymore. Like I have enough money where I'm fine. It doesn't really matter at this point in time. But like I can at least take this time to work on music, and like if I need to take a day off, like it doesn't really matter. So I'm like not an employee, I'm a contractor, so I can kind of step away from everything and like nobody's my boss. So that's really nice. So I can actually take the time to work on music and stuff like that, which kind of is freeing in that degree, as opposed to like someone constantly trying to get you work overtime and like somehow you're a slave to them because you took this job, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's awesome. So, and music is your thing. Also the show, where you can reach people all over the world with cool themes and guests and stuff. And so that's it, is everybody kind of finding their thing where, what are they being called to? What makes them happy? And not becoming a slave, like you say,
Right.
Why become a slave to anything? Right.
That's definitely important. I think it's finding and that's why I keep reiterating this. I think people watching, I think that's the first step, is like finding like your own freedom, and you need to figure that out financially. I think that's a very important step. I think you need to find like personal freedom financially, and then after that you can build on this stuff, because like a lot of that's going to get in the way if you either can't cut your costs down like a lot or raise enough money. I mean,
a little bit of both.
You need a little bit of both. Like where like. You can't even get to the step you're talking about. I mean, I think well, you can, but I'm saying like effectively, I think you need to be like where you take care of yourself to get to where you're even talking about. I think that's like such a thing that people need to focus on and chase, and not make impulse buys, like waste money, take loans they can't pay back. I mean,
don't buy things you can't afford.
If you have a bunch of kids, figure out a good plan for them and stuff. I mean, people have to be more responsible, like fiscally, to even get to the point spiritually. The way the code's written almost of this world, it seems like you need to like buy your freedom almost, and then you're like, okay, what do I like doing now?
You have to step out of the matrix.
Yeah, you're like, what do I? It's now that my rent's paid and I have a full stomach, what do I like doing? It's like He's like, I don't know. I think like, and a guy like you who's a paper out really young. I mean, those are the guys who usually make it. That's how Jordan Belfort was, like Wolf of Wall Street. He was selling like ice cream on beaches and stuff. Like, I mean, just a guy who was a millionaire, unethically a millionaire, but still a millionaire. Like, But I think like he did this. He was having a job really young and stuff too. He was out selling like ice cream on the beaches and stuff like that. I think, and there's always like those kids selling candy in like middle school and stuff. They're like they're rich now. Like every person that sold like pencils or like candy in like my middle school class is like a millionaire probably now. The people that care about it really young, and they like have like businesses like I mean, lemonade stand. It starts somewhere. I mean, it starts somewhere, and like it could be somewhere else, you know. But I'm saying like if you care about it and you're in it enough, you can figure it out, you know.
Yeah, you know, you don't want to, and I think for kids growing up today, you don't want to be afraid to go for it and really be amped up and be totally into it and pedal to the metal and put yourself, you know, really out there and drive, not to fall into this trap that we've talked about where you're owned and it's a job and you've got to be there from X time to Y time. No, we don't ever want to do that. We want to find the thing that really turns us on and then don't be afraid to put all of yourself into it. You know, this was my pattern, and I created success first in technology, and I didn't like, you know, I didn't feel like that environment was going to take me where I wanted to take my life, and I didn't feel like I was going to be able to make the world a better place. So then I went in a completely different direction. My major was political science in college. And but I went into technology, and then I went into conscious media. I don't have any background, you know, in technology or conscious media, but it interested me, and so I was all in. You know, I wasn't afraid to go for it, and that's what I'd recommend to kids is just figure out, or just anybody, is figure out what is it that really turns you on, and then give yourself fully to it.
I think that's true. And finding that's important. I think finding that's definitely important because like it's different for everybody. It's like I mean, whatever we say, it's only a projection of our own like thoughts and stuff. So it's like it's hard to even give people advice on that. You just have to find it yourself. Is the biggest way you can do it, really. Because you got to find what actually makes you happy.
Yeah, don't be afraid. You know, I think in earlier generations we had to take these jobs because our parents didn't have a lot of money. Now, you know, a lot of kids are kind of entitled growing up, and I think in many cases they're kind of afraid to go for it. And in some ways they're afraid of the world. And man, the world is a fantastic, you know, a place to be, you know, to get out and meet people and find the stuff that you love, the people that are doing stuff that you love, and then really. Yeah,
we're about the newest generation because everything they do is like online. Like it's all like they don't see it on Instagram. It didn't happen. But they don't live in like a real world. Like everything's through a filter. It's really strange.
Right. Yeah, where it's just the phone that's in front of somebody all day long, you know, which isn't going to take you there.
Everybody wants to be an Instagram model, influencer, or like an OnlyFans model, but like they all just end up like 90% of them still end up poor, but then they just like have all their pictures of them naked everywhere. So like their kids can see that in 20 years. Like, oh great, good job. You made $28. Good job.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, so
they know nothing about marketing. It's like I just show my boobs to people. Like, well, you're a solid 6.
That's probably effective marketing. It's just not effective monetization. I think it probably works to get clicks, but nobody. How are you going to monetize from that? You know, I mean, OnlyFans and stuff, I guess now. But
I got to take a bathroom break. I'll be right back. I'm so sorry, guys.
But no, that's crazy. So what is your plan from here? Like you've done a lot of stuff. You got I mean, you have a sick resume. I mean, in the most naive way of saying it, what is your kind of thing? Like, where do you see yourself going from here, man? Like, you've kind of done a lot of stuff, you know.
So where I'm going next week is, you know, the Cannes Film Festival over in France. It's going on right now. Mm-hmm. So it's spelled Cannes, like Canes, but it's pronounced Cannes Film Festival. So yeah, that's where I'm going next week because they've got some big, they call them impact events. So, and in these impact events, people are taking the stage to talk about things that they're doing that are creating better homes, better communities, better countries, better world. And they invited us to come out. So a couple of us are going over just for 4 nights, kind of a quick trip, going there and back to talk about this whole conscious media thing, you know.
Awesome. Congrats on that too. That's huge. So like elaborate on that a little bit, what that is for people that may not have heard of it, and what you're going, what your kind of goal is with that too for like people watching.
So it's neat. There's a guy over there named Richard Sims, and he is a Swiss guy that, like myself, he was sort of in the right place at the right time and had business really work out for him. And then he, just like me, he said, "Oh, this isn't. I don't want to just keep ringing the bell here and just bringing in more and more money and being absent to my family." So he left it all behind, bought this big home there in Cannes, France, right near the film festival, and they're inviting. It's a private thing where they're inviting a lot of those celebrity people. Miss Universe, the current Miss Universe, is going to be at our program next Thursday night. Wow, how cool is that? So
That's cool. Congrats.
a lot of the celebrity crowd that's there comes in. And then there are two kinds of people that are on the stage: people that are creating investments, like in crypto and in other kinds of investment categories. And then we're on the nonprofit side, so we're raising a whole lot of money right now to scale this whole conscious raising media thing that we do. And we have actually country coordinators in 65 countries right now, including China. So we've got all of these resources that are there that are supporting people on this journey that we call Conscious Journey. So I'm over there to just tell people about this, my background in Silicon Valley, that I left it, that this is what I'm doing now, creating this conscious media, and then inviting people that want to have impact to contribute and join with us.
What is conscious media, like in your definition?
So conscious media, part of what's at the center of it was when I was there a little earlier talking about the science of everything being deeply connected. It's this science, I was also bringing in these Einstein quotes that say, we're not, it's an optical delusion. We're actually, at a quantum level, everything is connected, even us, that are talking us right here on this program. So conscious living, part of its basis is that the world around us is deeply connected. Again, that affects kind of how we live our life. So, and that opens the door to wanting to do things where we're more in service to our communities, our home, et cetera. So yeah, and then we have scientists that create these video trainings. We have spiritual leaders. I don't know if you've heard of Michael Beckwith, Neale Donald Walsch, people like that. Embodied practices, so Qigong, yoga, all of these kinds of things. Conscious business, so where leaders come in that have started these businesses that have grown into real nice businesses and that are about more than just making money, that are about being good, about serving life, really, in addition to making money. So a higher purpose.
That's awesome. I can see why that's doing well, because that's what I think. Like the soul kind of feels that that's what they need to do. I mean, everybody,
especially in our generation, like I feel like it's like a reaching out, especially like millennials, like through Gen Z, like they want we all kind of want some kind of purpose that we just didn't really have. Like
I think all humans do. I think everyone on Earth wants that.
Like we didn't have any like great war really. I mean, we have like proxy wars mostly for like most of the new generations. Like we weren't actually going to war.
Well, that's probably good.
Well, I mean, that's probably good.
That's probably good.
I guess that we're not sending over our own people, but like we're also just spending money on other people's wars instead of actually going there ourselves.
And that's people too.
So this is it. I mean, you guys are bringing it all in. Soul's calling, which is sort of that still small voice, which you could call your conscience, and then you're bringing in meaning and purpose and all these things. This is all what conscious living is, where we're not just kind of in our head, logic center of the mind, but more, we call it wisdom center of the soul, where it sort of drops down, and it's more where you're applying yourself and focusing on things that feel like they're important to you, more in your deeper values and things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what everybody wants to know. I think that wasn't taught at a young age. I think I didn't think that way when I was in my youth, at least. I don't know. I definitely think that's important to get to people.
I was like, how am I going to eat?
yeah. After high school, oh man,
I'm just really hungry, guys. That's all I want to do is where I'm going to eat.
Right. Yeah. So, and then we grow up. Right. So, I mean, I part of the story, or one of the stories I tell in my book is, you know, as the middle kid, I mean, I wondered, could I even ever create a family, right? Could I ever have enough money to ever even buy a home, right? So, and I think most of us grow up that way, you know, and then you get out and really, and you drive and apply yourself, and all of us can do anything we want, actually.
Yes.
The thing is, the ultra rich people like don't even own shit because they're like, no, I don't want to pay all the taxes on that. That's retarded.
Yeah, that's true. I see a lot of rich people like that. It's funny. Like the richest people, one of the richest people I know has like a flip phone, and I didn't believe him at first. Like he was like trying to tell me, he's like I don't want all that shit following me everywhere. Yeah, he tried to tell me he was like a multimillionaire, and I was saying like a flip phone. I'm like, Jeff, there's no, and I said his name, but I'm like, there's no way you're doing it. Like,
the only person named Jeff Harvard.
Yeah, the only person named Jeff. But it was just like, yeah, no. So draw out some links and stuff. We're coming up on an hour. Throw some promo stuff. And we have almost 2,000 people watching live right now. It's probably a lot of people. So if you want to go to, thank you all for watching, obviously too, and watching. If you're watching live, you're my favorite. If you're listening later, you're okay too. But I appreciate you all watching live, and
if you
throw out some.
You're a bucket.
And then, throw out your. Throw out some links and stuff.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, here's some links. So a newuniversaldream.com. So a newuniversaldream.com, and that's the book, what the book's called. And the first chapters of the book are opened up, and we give away my masterclass. That's a $300 masterclass where you just enter your receipt number for the book. And the book's about $14, $15 on Amazon right now, a New Universal Dream. Oh. So, and Conscious Leadership, that masterclass is awesome, and it's at least it's more valuable even than the book. So be sure to enter your receipt number if you go there. Then stevefarrell.org. That's FARRELL.org. stevefarrell.org, and there's all kinds of stuff on that site. And then the nonprofit that I'm a part of, it's called Humanities Team with a Y, humanitiesteam.org, and go there. And up top, it has programs on the top left. Pull down the programs and you'll see all these free programs, just a whole bunch of them, with scientists and with spiritual leaders and embodied practices and all this stuff. Check them out, because there's all kinds of incredible tools that are free if you go check those video trainings out.
Oh yeah.
Awesome. I appreciate it, Steve. Thanks for coming on, man. Like, you're a fascinating guy, and like, congrats on your success and the success you're kind of creating for other people. I really appreciate you going backwards in your career, being here, and I think that.
Hey, me too. I don't even have a career.
I appreciate that. I appreciate
I'm
the
just
pity,
here.
I appreciate the pity going backwards. But no, thanks, brother. Like, a pleasure to meet you. I wish you continued success and greatness, man. Like, you seem like you got it together, and that's really cool. And I'm gonna check out your book. Do you have an audio book of your book?
I do. Yeah, there's an audio book and, the digital book and all of that stuff. Yeah, they're all there on the Amazon site and actually in other bookstores too. Yeah, check it out. Thanks for having me, Anthony and Brad. Been a pleasure being with you guys.
Dude, yeah, pleasure meeting you, man. Like, wish you continued success. And thank you all for watching. I appreciate everybody watching live and stuff. I know it's a Thursday and it's late. I mean, it's late on the East Coast. I mean,
is it late
on the East Coast?
It's 9:34 here.
I mean, people wake up early typically. So I appreciate you guys.
This is normally where I would go to bed, but I'm not going to work
tomorrow. Okay, man. Well, thanks for having me.
Thanks,
have a good one. Yeah, take great care, huh? Okay.
And thank you all for watching. Check out his book.
Sure.
Check out the book, Universal Dream, My Journey from Silicon Valley to Life and Service to Humanity by Steve Farrell. Thank you all for watching. I'll be back Monday. So, and if you're listening to this on audio, that has nothing to do with anything. But if you're watching live, I'll be back Monday on Rumble. Bye.